Hey guys, PepperAmmy here. This week we are making a nice and simple meal, perfect for Valentine's Day, and that is tomato risotto followed by a panna cotta for dessert. Now these may sound nice and fancy, but trust me, they are both super simple and easy to make. And the only thing that's going to set you back a little bit is the panna cotta is going to need a few hours to set up in the fridge. But once you've made it, it can hold up in the fridge for around 3 days. So, of course, we are going to start with the panna cotta. Now, you want to first bloom your gelatin. This is basically like hydrating it, as you would for yeast for bread. Now, you want to sprinkle 2¼ teaspoons or 7 grams of powdered gelatin over 60 mils of milk or water. And yes, it works completely fine using milk, as that is the path I took. Now, if you can only get sheets of gelatin, you just want to use 7 grams of gelatin sheets and then bloom that in 500 mils of water, and then you only add the sheets once the mixture is warm and ready. Now whilst your gelatin is doing its thing, it's time to make the panna cotta mixture. For this, all you will need to do is add 500 mils of heavy cream, 50 grams of sugar and some vanilla. Now you can use around a teaspoon of vanilla extract or essence, or if you are feeling real fancy, you can use a whole vanilla pod. Now if you choose to use the whole pod, simply split it down the middle, scrape the seeds out with a knife or spoon, and place it in the cream mixture along with the scraped pod. And then just bring that all together in a saucepan. And then bring it to hot but not boiling. You want it around 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And making sure to keep stirring while you are heating this up to avoid catching the cream on the bottom of the pan. Now you can add in your gelatin. If you are using the powder, of course, add in the milk as well. If you're using the sheets, just purely add in the sheets. Then you just want to remove it from the heat and whisk until smooth. Now if your gelatin is having a hard time dissolving, just keep the mixture warm and keep whisking until fully dissolved. And then once you're ready, pour into 4 serving dishes. This can either be ramekins or glasses, depending on how you want to serve them. And then place it in the fridge to set for at least 2 hours and better for 4 hours. And you just want to make sure this is fully set like a jelly. Now if you wish, you can make toppings for them. I went for a very simple berry mixture, just simply combine around 200 grams of frozen mixed berries with a tablespoon or 2 of sugar and a splash of water, and cook until the berries have become juicy and the consistency of your liking. I went for basically a very runny jam. And then let it cool, otherwise it's going to melt your panna cotta, and then pour on top of your 100% set panna cotta. Now as a little chef's note here, if you do this quite a while in advance before serving, the colour of the fruit may leach into the top of your panna cotta, but I personally kind of like that. It gives it a nice hue on the top. If you want a nice clean crisp top, just add it just before serving. Now you could also sprinkle over some crushed pistachio nuts, but if you place that in the fridge for a while, they may become a little bit soft. And now the dessert is out the way, it's time to move on to the risotto. Now this may be a dish that does scare some people, as it's fancy sounding and people often seem like it's one of those harder dishes to do. But in all honesty, as long as you have a nice simple guide and you keep an eye on your measurements, it is insanely easy to make. And it's just all about using the right measurements. Now you want to start by heating 2 tablespoons of oil in a large frying pan. Now I'm using some of my leftover chili oil from my garlic cloves, and then dice an onion. Now I went for 2 small onions. I chose a red and a white just for a bit of colour contrast, and then some of my leftover garlic cloves. And then you want to add your diced onion to the hot oil and fry for around 5 to 10 minutes until it is wilted slightly, softened and becomes slightly translucent. And then you want to add in your garlic, give it a quick fry for a minute or so, and then pour in 200 grams of uncooked risotto rice. That works out at 100 grams per serving, so you can scale this recipe up if you wish. And then you just want to toast that for about 2 minutes. Next, pour over 1 400 gram can of chopped tomatoes. Now you don't really want to use whole plum tomatoes here, otherwise you're going to have to break them up a lot. and then you want to cook while stirring until most of the liquids have been absorbed. Next, slowly pour in 600 ml of warmed either chicken or vegetable stock. Now you want to do this in batches. I did mine around about 200 ml at a time. And then, just like the tomatoes, you want to wait until most of the liquid has been absorbed, and then add in your next 200 ml. Now you don't have to be exact, it is just breaking it up so it's not all going into the pan at once. Now this process should take around about 20 minutes to fully cook the rice through, and if you have run out of stock and your rice is still too crunchy, you can always add in a bit more water, but the rice should still have a little bit of a bite to it, as we are not making a tomato rice pudding here. Now once fully cooked, add in some fresh chopped basil leaves and stir in 50 grams of grated parmesan. Now this should add a little bit of thickness to the sauce as well, and a little bit of creaminess. And then just simply serve by dividing between 2 bowls, or you can additionally top with some more parmesan or some toasted herby breadcrumbs. And there you have it, a nice, simple but yet fancy sounding meal for 2 or more that won't break your bank either. Now as always, if you did like what you saw, let me know down below with a like and a comment. If you are new here, feel free to subscribe for free weekly cooking content, and I will see you all again next week. Thanks for watching.